Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Evilwest, Evil Difficulty No Healing walkthrough. This is Chapter 11, A Man of the People. Or technically a Man of People, which is interesting. I wonder if that's a reference to something that I'm not familiar with. And this is one of my favourite missions in the game. It's also one of the most dynamic. It's also the mission where I soft-locked the game, and I could no longer proceed and indeed killed my game save. Which I want to talk about that because it's kind of interesting. So, as you might know, Flying Wild Hog make great games, but they make buggy games because games are hard to make and it's easy for these things to slip through the cracks, and even if you test them, even if you put all your effort into it, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get them all. And alas, when you have a lot of people banging on your game, people are going to find issues. And I found an issue here. And the way to avoid it is to make sure that when you do a fight that has a nest, always seal the nest immediately after you've done the fight. Don't deviate, don't leave, don't do anything else. What you're watching here, guys, is on my first playthrough, I did this fight, and then instead of dynamiting the hole, because I didn't want to lose progression or get locked out of something, I explored and then ended up sealing all the other nests, and then when I came back to this one, it was unresponsive. And at the time, I didn't know what to do because it was pre-release by a few days, and because I was under a strict NDA, I couldn't really tell anybody or ask anybody anything, unless they had the game. And I contacted the developers on Twitter, and the message wouldn't go through. It did that weird thing on Twitter where you send the DM and it goes pink and says could not send. So I don't know if they don't have that on or if that's Twitter being shit. I don't really know what that means. But I went then to their email address and I sent them a message basically saying, you know, I'm this YouTuber guy no one's fucking heard of. I've got a key for your game and I'm having a good time with it, but I've soft locked it on this level. And I explained how I did it. And then I went on to say that I couldn't find any kind of mission select or restart level option, so it's effectively killed my save. And because I'm under an NDA, I didn't know who to tell, and I didn't know where to take this information to try and do the most help, so that when the game comes out, hopefully you guys don't get this. And I sent this message to them, and they never responded. Which is, you know, it's absolutely fine, it's whatever, people are busy, shit, you know, they've just released a game, it's probably a massive cram. However, if you go on the Steam forums right now, there is a pinned tab on the Steam forums of this exact softlock, warning people about it. So, it doesn't matter who got the information out there, it's not about credit, it's about they're aware of it and hopefully it won't happen. And additionally, the reason why I say this, guys, is my friend, Godfather Dictator, he did the same thing as I did, the bastard. Oh, the unlucky sod. I love that. He did the same thing I did, and he softlocked his game, and he messaged me last night, and he was like, dude, I'm fucked. And I know exactly how he feels, because I did the same thing, you know? Great minds think alike, apparently. However, we did have more information now, because the game's been out for a few days. So I said to him, someone in my community found where the mission select is. So if you go to lore page, there's the missions on there. If you go to them, it says replay missions. So I tell him to do that, and hopefully it'll fix it, thinking that that's the solution. And he tries to do it, and it keeps restarting him in the same level. It keeps restarting him in this level, soft-locked. So the mission select is not working correctly for some reason on his game, or in general. I've not tried it myself. So it doesn't even resolve it. So it is indeed an absolute save killer. And I just hope they can catch it, you know. I hope they can fix it and get rid of it, because that's bad, that. Like, having a soft locked in the game like that happens, you know. And it sucks that it happened to me. But then afterwards, the mission select not working, that just seems like a massive yikes that needs to be addressed. And I don't know who's in charge of it, I don't know how much it costs, but if they do anything to this game, they need to get rid of this. Because I can complain about all the small minutiae all day, because I love detail, I wish games were all perfect so that we could all enjoy them. But they're not. And as much as I like saying that this needs to be better, that could be better, this and this, the one thing you need is your game to work. And level select is so pivotal in an experience like this, because not all levels are created equally. Not everybody wants to play levels all the time. You know, it's like albums. How many albums do you have where you listen to every song? I'm guessing it's not too many unless you're an album person. Most people listen to 1 or 2 songs and skip the rest. Many people can't listen to an album without skipping a song because to them they're not essential. And it's the same in video games. You will have levels you love to replay and there'll be levels that you don't. So level select has to exist. And the greatest failing, I think, is hiding it in the fucking lore tab. And I just find that really funny, personally, because lore to me is story. It's narrative. It's additional details. It's like Encyclopedia Dramatica when you're looking up Greek gods. It's something you choose to do, but you don't need to engage with. But it's not in this game. It's where they've buried the fucking mission select. And for them to hide it in a place that's not as conventional as I would have liked, and then, when you try to use it, for it not to work as it should work, it just seems like this comedy of errors. And if you've listened to the videos thus far, you know I love this game. But this is bad. I got a key for this game from the devs themselves. This is bad. I'm not going to say this is not bad. I'm not going to tell you this doesn't exist. It fucking does, and it's a problem. I don't see the point in sucking a dick when there's issues that need to be fixed. And I like Flying Wild Hog. I think they seem like great people, and I like their games. I want them to be better, you know? But that's a disgrace for me. It's an absolute disgrace. Like, if I had worked on this game, I'd be heartbroken. And there would be sleepless nights in my future because I'd do everything I could to mobilize the people I need to make it right. And hopefully that's what they're doing, you know? I don't know, guys. I'm ignorant of the process. But this is the level. If you're going to break the game, guys, it'll be on this one. And there's only 5 levels after this. So you're really close to the end of the game as well. I mean, there's still a decent chunk to come, and there's still some really tough things coming up, but fundamentally, you know, you've played a lot of the game. You're in the final third of it, so for you to softlock it here, it does sting. And what I ended up doing is I ended up starting my guide. I hadn't beat the game at this point, guys. You know, in this recording right now, I don't know what comes after this level, because I've never seen it. And usually, I beat a game the first time, and that's my practice run, that's how I learn it, I figure it out, I see what I can do, I come up with some strategies, and then on the second run, the recording run, I enact the strategies, and that's what you see on the guide. But with this game, I played all the way up to this, I got my soft lock, and then I started recording. And sometimes it's just the way it works, you know, it's just the way it happens. And it's a shame too, because I like the structure of this level. I do think it's a little bit labyrinthine and a bit twisty and turny, but I like being in the town. I like the more urban environments in Westerns, so I like all the wooden houses and the buildings in the main street, and I like that they give you the illusion of choice where you can wander around and do the nests in any order. But word to the wise, doing the nests in a specific order could end up in you not being able to play the rest of the game, and that's a legitimate concern until it's not, you know. There's some tricky fights coming up here. And this is me. I've just bought the upgrade, guys, to get the charge rifle, and I don't like it. So you're going to see me respec. But come into this cave. There's a fight in this room coming up. It's very similar to an optional fight from earlier on in the game. And again, the room is the real enemy here. The fight itself is very manageable. You've done this before. Doing it in this kind of space is what makes it tricky. But we have Cannonball, and Cannonball is so bloody good. Look how good Cannonball with the explosive is. It just changes the game. It's phenomenal. And then we've got a couple of the flyers who just shoot me from behind just then. Remember when I said, guys, that the flyers they're not hard, but they put pressure on you, and it's one of the reasons why it makes the fights more dynamic. The moment I saw that flyer, I needed to get away from the boss. Because if you don't, you're just going to get off-screened like that. And that right there, guys, so important. Did you catch it? Using the flamethrower to interrupt bosses. Such a good tool. Not many people using the flamethrower like that. It's kind of sad. And that's the end of this guy. And that right there is pretty funny too. There's a big vacuum on the grabs in this game, so you can do the Superman punch and it will trigger the animation, and it cancels your Superman punch into an execution, and it looks really dumb. But I love doing it, so you've probably noticed that I do it a lot. And this is the moment of truth. When you get to 4 out of 5 nests, this is when you need to start worrying that your game's going to die. Fortunately, I've only ever soft-locked it in that one specific way. But never ever pause when you're opening a chest, guys, because you can soft lock it doing that too. Fortunately, the chest one is easier to reset because it's not a game state soft lock, it's just like a soft lock. But we still don't have the ability to leash a bunch of dudes. When you get that, this game turns into a completely different entity entirely. And we'll see what's going on. So we've got the flyer over there, we've got the shield guy over here, we've got the person with the staff, we've got the standard vampire. I use the crippling rod to get rid of his shield. We go into an E-combo. I don't have any of the E-combo upgrades yet. I'm curious to see how good those Ooh, that was cool. Dude, that was lucky as hell, but it looked cool, didn't it? I jumped over the shockwave and used the Superman punch launcher after the cannonball to get through his attack. I probably couldn't have done that again if you asked me to. And then here's the gun being terrible. Like, this is not a good upgrade, guys. Don't use it. Which is a lie, actually. I hope somebody figures out a really cool way to use this upgrade. And they make a video and everybody goes, oh my god, that upgrade's so amazing. But I don't like it. I just don't think it works right. But now it's a 1v1 against this fella. You fought him a bunch of times. You can kick his jumps. You can keep him on a big string. I don't know the quickest way to break shields yet, but I'm going to learn. Like, obviously, you can use a crippling rod. Obviously, you can shotgun it. Obviously, you can kick it. Obviously, you can punch it. Obviously, you can cannonball it. Obviously, you can use dynamite on the wall and whatnot and make him run into the environmental hazards. But, like, I need to come up with a guaranteed quick kill on this shield. That's going to be my next objective when I get to play with the game, when I'm not so busy. Because I've got plans to do a bunch of different silly runs with this and really get into the meat of it. And I would imagine maybe if you build a stun you can just zap him, right? And maybe that breaks his shield. I guess I never tried that. I do like this little Matador game that you play with him though. I should have swapped weapons there instead of committing to the crossbow. I got a lot better. Oh, here we go. We've got shenanigans happening. Oh, Evilwest. And then I get an execution on a barrel. That's how you know it's good, right? I love this game, dude. There's somebody that would watch that and think, oh my god, it's terrible. What a horrible game. Look at this, 2 out of 10. But that's the type of stuff that makes me laugh. You know, there are worse problems to have in your video game, if you ask me. This is good too. You can jump across this and go through the geometry. I love doing that. Jumping literally through the water wheel. That's another one of those touches that makes me laugh. There's some hard fights coming up on this level though, guys. There's a fight coming up here where we fight in front of that church where there's no room at all and you're fighting a lot of bad things. And they love doing it with the claustrophobic encounters and the really, really unrealistic expectations. And this is me getting rid of that electrical weapon. I make a big mistake here though, guys. Because I don't buy back Cannonball, you know, the ability to make people explode when you cannonball. I accidentally don't buy it. So I get into a couple of fights where I don't have it, and I don't know why I don't have it. And I start getting really tilted, and it would have really helped, but I didn't buy it, because I'm stupid. It happens, though. Note to self, be careful what you wish for. You know, you might get it. And that's the problem with that charge rifle. The charge takes way too long to do, and you cannot release it early and get a weaker move. You have to fully charge it before it fires. So all that happens is you try to use it, and then you ruin the charge because something attacks you. And you spend the whole time trying to shoot the gun and you never do. And I don't want a gun that I can't shoot, so I like the standard rifle more. And here we go, the final nest here. So dynamite goes in. Technically doesn't work until the end though. I was trying to seal it like an emergence hole. And then we've got the standard enemies and the exploding dudes. So here he comes, boom, that's a big one. There's the barrel. There's the zapper. Guy behind me right there, just chilling out. There's his taunt. You can always engage when they taunt because it means they're not going to attack. There's the flame to get some extra damage on our punches. And there's a perk, there's a level up, there's 2,000 bucks. Easy life, right? But dynamite the hole, then once you've done that, it's going to tell you to go towards the church. But how are you finding the project, guys? Are you enjoying it? Is it fun to watch? I know I've been making a lot of jokes about the game being boring because of the reviewers who can't play it. But is it standing the test of time to the people who are actually watching? Are you enjoying me going through it? Because the next time I cover this, if I do, it will just be the fights. I will trim out everything else. It'll literally be fight to fight to fight to fight to fight, because that's where the main meat is. And you don't need to see me pushing carts and wandering around looking for gold. But here we go, really difficult fight here. The only reason this fight is hard is because it's really easy to get stuck on the environment. The amount of times I've got stuck on the graves and I've got stuck on that little ridge over there near the entrance is really high. And it's just a lot of enemies and a shield guy and a higher vampire all together in a small space. And you're really going to learn in time just how frustrating that higher vampire's jump can be. Because when you focus on him, you can just kick it and stop it and it's okay. But if you're being marauded by shield men and shockwaves and things, you have to pay attention to everybody else. And you can't really do the kickers as easily because it's kind of awkward. And what it leads to is when he lands, he has a big area of effect, and he's going to hit you when he shouldn't hit you. So, 2 shield guys, 1 higher vampire, and I'm going to set up the shit out of this dude and beat him into oblivion. There's his attack. He always does that after you've stunned him like that. There's the flamethrower making them flinch, and he goes up to do some healing. So this is going to give us some batteries. So shoot him, get the battery. And one of the strategies here is to kite everybody, wait for him to heal, shoot him and get the battery. And do that until you've got superpower mode, and then just kill everybody with superpower mode. It's quite a strategic and lame way to play. It's not the most exciting, but it's very effective. And if you want to beat the game, sometimes it doesn't have to be pretty. Be careful here though, when you're this close, when you pick the battery up, he has a tendency to do his really fast attack. And just keep your eyes on these boys here, because they really like to hit you from off screen. And they're quite durable too. Like, you expect one move and they'll do something else. But as soon as the higher vampire is dead, this is over, because he's the only real threat here. And he's only a threat because his jump detection's bad. And this is, hopefully, this should be our final battery, but for some reason I only have 2. I don't really know what's going on there. There's the projectile telegraph, there's the charge. Shoot him a bit more, there's not too much left on him. Someone's attacking me off camera, I'll walk around it. That was fortunate that he didn't do anything else. But sometimes you've got to be ballsy like that, because if you don't, you'll never win. There's me going up with the shotgun. That was lucky. Whew. There he goes, he's dead. And now we get to just deconstruct our friends here. And and here's another spawn as well, the exploding things. This is where I think Evilwest kind of loses its grace, this. There's no reason for this phase at all. I just think it's silly. Then again, maybe if I'd have left the altered demon, the higher demon, sorry, to just kind of stand there, maybe this wouldn't have happened. Because you can manipulate a lot of the spawns. But it just seems a bit overkill, doesn't it, to throw jobbers at you right at the end when you've done the hard work. And they just love doing it, so you're going to see it way more than this. There's the good old crippling rod to save my ass. There's the electric combo after the Superman punch. I got the flamethrower, there's a nice shotgun, couple of bullets. War of attrition, really. And you could play this way more aggressive than I'm playing it, but you want to win and you don't want to have to do it all again, you know? That's one of the reasons why I think that some of the fights in this game for no damage are just going to be tedious, because you have to play more defensive, you have to be scared. Because it's so easy to take damage off something that's bullshit. And you'll notice I haven't talked much about the game being bullshit. I haven't said the game's bullshit all that much. But some of the hitboxes are just bad. I've got footage of a guy slamming a club, and it's to the complete left of my body by about 1 meter. He's nowhere near me, and he kills me. Why? And the worst part is, it's at the end of a 5-minute fight, and he was the last enemy. And I walk around his move, I should be absolutely safe, and he fucking kills me. And that's the type of stuff that pisses me off, that, because it shouldn't work like that. But now that we've got just one left, all we have to do is get rid of his shield, and he's done. So I'm definitely excited to watch him die. Because this is the final fight of the level, and it's a tough level. One of the toughest, actually. But that's the joy, isn't it, of watching something like this. It makes it all look easy. But it's definitely not. And that's the end of this, and that's the end of the fight. So thank you for watching, guys, and most importantly, you take care now.